So it's really that point where you're like, you have to not care if you die, and I'm serious, like keep going and pushing and not give a shit if you die, honestly. And that's all I can say about that. And I wasn't able to, I wasn't able to, have that mindset in that moment.
Holy smokes, folks. This one is a somber one. Big shout out to my guy, Mike. Sit down, man. I just got to talk to the unicorn. Division I college swimmer, captain of his team. Buds are Trike didn't make it. There's so much power in this video. Learn from others' mistakes. Don't let this be you. Feel what Mike is saying and try to be as prepared as you can before you go down range. Man, brother, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here. It's so crazy. I put that other video out about that young man that didn't make it. And now I got I'm going to shoot probably 5 of these. But I'm going to be honest, you're the fucking unicorn, bro. Like, you literally are the poster boy for what I always preach. You were a Division I athlete, captain of the swim team, and you enlisted with a college degree, and then it didn't go so well. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to ask you some questions, man, and just kind of hear your story, because you literally are you're the poster boy of the reason why I try to tell these kids not to go enlist with a college degree. Anybody looking at the paper is going to be like, yo, there's no way Mike don't make it, right? Captain of the swim team, SEC swim team, like legit ass swimming. And there's no way he won't make it. And then, fast forward, he doesn't make it. And now he's sitting there looking at a career, swabbing decks or whatever. But we'll get into that. I just want you to know, thank you so much, brother. You're going to help hundreds of.
Yeah. So this was back in 2012. I was class 299 getting my contract to enlist. It was way easier. I have had 2 buddies who are SEAL officers, and I was in contact with them, and they were telling me what it would take to go officer. They're like, you don't want to deal with all that stuff, then you can just enlist and you get in right away. You can always put in a package to go officer later, get experience. So that was kind of my mindset going in, and I was wanting to enlist. Like, I was set on it. I trained my ass off for 2 years. I was ready.
What were you running in swimming? Like, when you say you're ready?
Yeah, I was running sub 9, 6 minutes.
Bro, like and if you ain't swimming sub 6 minutes, and you did swim at Tennessee, which we both know you did. So the swimming, you were a swimmer. Okay.
Yeah, it was never an issue for me. And then I was 110, 115s on the sit-ups, 95, 100 on the push-ups, and then 25 on the pull-ups. So my numbers are pretty solid going in.
Yo, those are solid numbers, right? Like, everybody on here that listens to me knows, I'm shooting straight fire, right? Like, I'm only talking the truth. I'm going to throw this caveat on. We talk about 2012. There was still 7 years of war left. Mm-hmm. So, I wouldn't have sit here and been like, look, don't go bang. The enlisted route is absolutely stupid, because we got 4 years. We had 7 years of war left, right? We were right in the thick in 12. Cats were still chewing it up. I'm not second guessing why you went enlisted. I just talk to me a little bit about, so you had 2 buddies that are in. They're talking enlisted officers. Absolutely. Back then, cats weren't really necessarily running to the sound of the gunfire. Lone Survivor, all those movies hadn't come out yet. It was how many people were applying Vice now, right? Like, right now, it's absolutely ludicrous. Put your paperwork in, drop those fire numbers. You got a contract. How long did you have to wait before you shipped out?
Yeah. So I think I got picked up in March of 2012, and then I shipped out in August. Not too long.
And then you got you went to basic.
Yeah, so I went to basic in August, and then I went to Buds prep around September, and then I went to Buds in late December.
Okay, so you had straight January class, February Hell Week, solid ass chilly chill.
Yeah.
Physically, when you got there, did you think you were ready?
Yeah, so one thing I do want to say is I did have I got a shoulder injury in prep, and it was my own fault trying to push myself probably beyond what I should have. This was at prep, and we were just doing obstacle course drills. So probably could have done a better job at focusing on, taking care of my body better and recovering, which is important. As far as being in shape and everything, I was fine there, but I was always concerned that I needed to do more,
I don't know how familiar you are with me or what we kind of preach over here, but we go to Buds, we operate at 90%, right? We save 10% for ourselves in case we absolutely need it. And then then we don't take any chances on the obstacle course, right?
Yeah.
We're not playing games. When you have a risk of injury, like the obstacle course, you know, I tell the story that class ahead of me, they used to flip down the cargo net. So like grab it with their hands, flip over, grab it with their feet, flip over. The shit was cool. But then I watched a dude lawn dart from like probably 45 feet. I was like, you guys are crazy, man. Like,
yeah.
I ran my 845 O course and never once even came close to getting hurt or stressed. So, okay. So you got hurt doing obstacle, you know, the obstacle course doing something.
Yeah. So that was in Bud's prep, and it was, you know, it was on the parallel bars. Like I was doing, instead of alternating walking with my hands, I was doing the hops. And I landed wrong, and I felt like a crunch in my shoulder, pulled from training, because they noticed I wasn't able to lift anything over my head, and they put me LLD for 3 weeks. And I was, you know, it sucked because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get out of shape now, and this is gonna screw everything up. But you know, I did what I could to continue to work out. I tested out, passed the exit test, and then I went to Bud's.
What were your exit?
Yeah, I ran a 26 4-mile.
Yep.
And then, you know, my numbers, I think, you know, I was just aiming for 100, 25. And then the swim, I think it was a 3 mile. I think we had to do it was 1,000 swim.
1,000.
I don't remember what my time was.
It don't matter.
Fins, yeah.
It was fast. Yeah. It was really fast. Doesn't matter what it was. Because here's the deal, man. The 26-minute 4 mile, right? Like I would tell people like, but jog a 27 and a half, right? Like I take it you was putting out on a 26-minute 4 mile.
For sure.
You know, all of that stuff. Like I try to explain it. Fucking Buds is two years long now. You got Buds and then you got SQT. Put them together is 2 full years. And that's after you get done with boot camp and boat. That's just Buds. Yeah. So you're really looking at like you're looking at like 30 months start to finish before you actually get to the SEAL team. 30 months is a lot of time to be putting out 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Know? And so like you had it, you know, and we're just kind of talking about it so that people get my thoughts on what you were doing, right? Like you running a 26-minute, like if you were my dude, I'd be like, yo, put the brakes on, bro. I want you to jog a 27:30. You still 2.5 minutes fast, but just jog a 27. And then, you know, like if you really want to run a little bit, run a 27. Stay away from max effort.
For sure. And that's the one thing, that's probably what I would have done different, is 10% to look out for myself and, you know, take care of your recovery, because it really is about being able to endure over the long term. It got to Bud. It was awesome. It was everything I was expecting. I was enjoying it. You know, I was having a lot of fun with, you know, that was the exact environment I wanted to be in. You know, that's all that training I was doing, and I was finally there, and it was happening. You know, as much as it sucks and how hard it is and everything, it was awesome being there. And then, but like I said, the biggest struggle for me was dealing with the cold. You know, trying to perform when you're freezing cold, and you know, you can't feel your fingers and you're freezing. I mean, it's a whole different beast.
When you first got in the first phase and you started doing, you know, I don't know what the surf torture is what we called it, but now they call it surf conditioning or whatever.
Yeah.
When you started laying in the Pacific Ocean in January, and I always felt like when you went over to the Bayside, it was worse. Like I thought the water temp in the Bayside was always colder. I mean, we saw some 40-degree bay temp waters. You know, you don't have no pants on, and we were cramping. I'm like, holy crap! Like we froze to death, and our legs ain't working. So like, did you, like, as soon as you started getting those experiences at first, you know, the first week of Bud's actual class up, were you already starting to think in your head, holy shit, how am I going to do this? Or was it just one of those things? It was just absolutely so miserable for you. It just kind of compounded over time.
Yeah. So it wasn't really, it was really in Hell Week, because when you're going through the day-to-day in first phase, you know, okay, I'm going to get to a point where this is going to end, and I can recover from this. The day's going to end. And when you're in Hell Week, it seems like it's never going to end. I think that's really what led me to that breaking point. You know, we had just done base tour. We ran with the boats on our heads for the whole night.
Monday-ish?
Yeah. So I ended up dropping at Steel Pier. So we had finished base tour, and we went to Steel Pier. We had to strip down and then go in the bay.
Butt naked?
Yeah.
Yeah. Butt naked. I experience. We were in El Nino, right? I don't remember what day. it might have been Wednesday or Thursday. We got hats and coats, brother.
Yeah.
And like we had 20s, we had like 20-ish. And I just remember I was like, yo, it gotta be like, I don't get cold, right? So like it's different for me. Like the cold wasn't my kryptonite. Drown proofing wasn't my kryptonite, right? Like your experience with the cold was my experience with drown proofing, right? I passed out in drown proofing and passed. My buddies rescued me from 1 foot away. I passed out. They pulled me up. You know, I passed. Somehow I passed, okay? Everybody, I tell everybody, everybody's going to have some demons at butts, right? Like whatever your demon is, you don't run fast enough. You drown proofing because you negative, right? In your case, the cold. You know, the demon's going to come out. On Steel Pier, like I tell the story, man, like stripped down, butt naked, and there was these big ass fucking bolts sticking out of the steel pier, right? On the little ledge. And I remember to myself, I was like, yo, whatever you do, don't kick those things. And literally when I jumped in the water, somehow I kicked. I was like, oh my God, I think I broke my foot. So the whole time I'm in the water, I'm like, yo, I hope some fish don't come out here and bite my willy off, right? Like that was my whole train of thought. It was freezing. And I was like, man, this sucks. But I was the class officer, the OIC. So I was in the front of the formation. And like, we didn't bitch in my class. So but behind me, I just remember people were like, oh God. And I was like, yo. And they had the little guys and the little kayaks out there. And I was like, man, it's fucking freezing. And then like cats started dropping, man. They started coming out. And I was just like, well, fuck, man. And you know, we really lost, you know, Lion's Lope. Did you get the Lion's Lope?
What part was that?
Where you're like you all of you are in like a line and you do this over by the dolphin pens.
I don't remember.
It was part, like it was like Wednesday night-ish. I think.
No, I didn't.
I don't remember. It's all one big day to me. We had like 8 people quit. We had to do a lap, and I want to say the water temp was like 40 degrees. And we were getting eaten by these like lice things that were making us bleed. We didn't have no clothes on. So I got us out of the water and the instructors were MFing me. And I was like, look, man, we all fucking bleeding. Something is eating us in there. We're not going back in the water. And so then they looked at us and they were like, okay. And we got dressed, but then we came back like maybe 2 hours later. And we got back in there and we made 1 lap. And then we came back and people were like locked up because it was so cold. And they're like, get back in the water. We're doing another one. And I was like, okay. So we got back in, we started going, you know, it's really slow. Like you're doing, like, it's so slow. And I remember we were going by the dock with another boat crew and the whole boat crew got out of the water, out of the dock and quit. Like 7 people got out one time and quit. I was like, you were at Steel Pier, you got in the water. Did they make you lay on the metal first?
Yeah. So we stripped down. Oh no, we jumped in with our clothes on, with our uniforms on first. We got out and then we stripped down and then we got out and then we laid down on the pier or whatever. And then they were like, all right, you have 2 minutes to put your uniforms back on. And at that point I couldn't even like move my fingers. I couldn't tie my boots. And they were like, all right. And then we didn't make the time. So like back in. So we went back in, we did it again. And then like, I was like slowing, I couldn't do it. Like I literally could not move my hands. I could not button my uniform. And so I was, you know, weren't going to make that time interval. And then they were like, get back in. And then that's when I didn't jump back in. I was like, that's it for me.
Like you just reached that point. If you don't mind sharing, what was going through your head, man? Like what was kind of the like, you know, what was going through your head when you just said, fuck it, I'm done?
Yeah. So it's really that point where you're like, you have to not care if you die, you know, and I'm serious, like keep going and pushing and not give a shit if you die, honestly. And that's all I can say about that. And I wasn't able to, you know, have that mindset in that moment. So, I mean,
hey brother, I'm gonna tell you right now, like our number one operating principle is I'll die before I quit.
Yeah.
And I explained to people, man, like I experienced it, man. Like I knew I was passing out and drown proofing for at least 5 minutes before I actually passed out. I'm in the pool tied up, right? I went to sleep in the pool. I could have not woke up, but I was gonna try to pass no matter what. But that's powerful what you're saying. I mean, people got to hear that because right now everybody thinks that if you want it bad enough, you can get it. And I'm trying to explain to young men just like yourself and a couple young women that look, man, so much of this game is mental. It's your mental ability to block out everything around you and just focus on what's right in front of you. Powerful what you're saying. Like, you weren't willing to die to achieve the goal, you know? And that's, at the end of the day, man, like, I hate to say it, but shit, I would say probably 95% of the class is pushed to that point at some point, right? I got pushed to that point in the last swim. Like, I didn't get pushed to dying, but like, I had to swim until I started crying and I broke. And then my swim buddy punched me in the face, and then I had to kick and I finished, right? And I passed by like 25, 30 seconds, whatever the time was, but it was close on a 2-mile ocean swim, you know? I mean, I appreciate that, Mike. I know it ain't easy to say, you know? Okay, so talk to me, man. You quit at Steel Pier, you went back, you got warmed up, you put your uniform, you got dry clothes, you got your doctor's appointment. You know, what kind of transpired? Did you go to the bottle hard after that?
Yeah, so I went into, I didn't drink or anything like that. I felt like it's the worst feeling. You're left with this empty feeling, like you're this close to reaching this goal that you've had for a long time, and then there's nothing to show for. You're transitioned over to Thailand or whatever, and I was in a probably a deep, dark depression for like 6 months after that. I reclassed, reassigned or whatever. I went to Florida, and, then I'm in this environment, I didn't want to be there. This isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I signed up for. And I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like I wanted to be a part of, something, the most elite group, the most elite warriors, the complete opposite of that, but I also had to learn to own up to what happened and accept it and move on.
How long was your enlistment?
4 years.
Okay.
So I got out in 2016.
Okay. So you did your whole 4 years, got promoted to E4 real quickly because you already had college degree. What'd you end up getting out as? An E5, E6?
Yeah, I was E5.
Okay. And so that whole time you were enlisted, what'd you end up doing for a job?
So I was in aviation as a parachute rigger. And it wasn't a sexy job or anything, but I guess it's not chip and paint. And then I got orders to Japan. So it was cool that I got to travel a bit after that. So
you made the most of it?
Yeah, for sure.
What would be your advice for the 2010, 2011 you?
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of going enlisted or officer. It's a matter of one, taking care of yourself and making sure you're durable. It's all about durability. It's hard to say. It's like, how do you prepare for the cold? It's like nothing you do can make that shit easier. Having a method, some sort of like a mindset tool that you can go to when you're in that place of weakness, that that can get you through that, because a lot of people are going to go through that. You're going to be tested to your breaking point, and it comes down to can you stay mentally strong through that point.
Yep. All right, so you end up doing your 4 years, and then you went and used your college degree. Did you try to transition to officers at all? Did you think about flying? Did you think about any of the other jobs as an officer?
No, I didn't. I did my 4. I actually went back to school, got my master's. So I used the GI Bill that I got.
Okay.
So that's what I ended up doing.
Where'd you get your master's at?
So I got my master's at San Francisco State and exercise physiology.
And you're currently strength coach, I saw?
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't end up bad. I mean, that's a powerful message, brother. I can't reiterate how happy I am that you had the cojones to come on here. You're kicking ass now in life, right? Like it didn't define you. It just, we all got those. I tell everybody, man, we all got them. Yeah. I got them, they just like, I turned down Oprah Winfrey for a huge job offer that probably would have changed the trajectory of my life. Yeah. Right?
And I think it's important that you said that it doesn't define you. For the longest time, I felt that way. I felt like that was defining, that did define me. And, for a long time I was ashamed, and I felt like I let a lot of people down. So, it was tough. It was a tough point, but, learning to accept it and take ownership of it and say, hey, this is what happened, and it is what it is.
Make the best of it. I just was I was reading the article on the Bonhomme Richard fire, right? And then trying to say the Buds Detroit guy set the fire so he didn't have to do duty. And I'm like, yo, there's some ways to try to get out of duty, but that ain't one of them, right? Like, and, you know, I think it's important for a lot of people to hear because, you know, like there's 750 people go to Buds every year that don't make it. 750.
Yeah.
200 to 250 make it, 700 to 750 to 800 don't make it, right? And so it's funny because when I put that other video out the other day, I had, you know, like I just do whatever had come to me, right? And the young man wanted to talk to me about it and he was willing to talk about it. And then someone hit me up on the phone that I know really well and was like, yo, like no one is talking to the people that didn't make it. No.
Yeah. You never hear that. You never hear that side.
Yeah. And so I was like, man, and like, I'm not like, I mean, I'm at home because I got COVID, right? Like I got COVID for 5 days and I got a bunch of business stuff done now. And I got a little bit of time to talk, which I never have because I've been working 20 hours a day on this new business deal. But then it hit me. I'm like, man, there ain't, you know, like if y'all willing to talk about it, because like your story is different than the other kids. You were prepared. You had a background. You knew 2 guys had been through it. You knew what you're getting into. And then, you know, when you got in the breach and went down range, you know, you just, at a point you broke. And we all, I mean, shit, I broke. I mean, I broke in Buds. I did. I just got lucky. It was in something that wasn't catastrophic, right? I never once thought about quitting, but like I know in that swim, that final swim, like I had swam as hard as I could, you know, 1.9 miles of it. And then the last 0.1 mile got me, you know, but then after that, like, I was just like, holy shit, right? You know, and John would be like, hey, motherfucker, don't make me punch you in the face. I'd be like, yeah, man, you know, and then, you know, so it happens to everybody, man. Like, and that's the thing. You just try to keep it from being fatal. All right, brother. Well, shit, man. You got any questions for me, man?
No, I don't, but I appreciate what you're doing. And yeah, I stumbled across your videos and you know, I think it's awesome that you know, you're helping mentor all the candidates going in. And you know, I saw myself in some of the shoes of those guys at one point. And so yeah, I think that's awesome, and keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome, brother. Hey, Mike, man, thank you so much. You need anything, reach out, brother. I know you in strength and conditioning. I just left college football for 15 years. You know, I know you, are you working private practice? What are you doing strength and conditioning wise?
Yeah, so I started up my own gig. I was training at a gym, and then when COVID happened, it just kind of went off on my own. So I'm starting up my own business.
Are you focusing on swimming at all? Is swimming still part of your life?
It hasn't been, but you know, it can be if I have a couple clients that, you know, will do it on the side, but not to the not at the level of you know, what I was once doing.
All right, brother, man. Have a great rest of your day, man. Thank you for this time, Mike.
I appreciate you, Jake. Have
Absolutely,
a good one.
bud.
See ya.
Hey, man, I just want to give another shout out to Mike. Thank you for your time, man, brother. Giving me goosebumps talking to you. So much courage to come on here, your face on the video. Thank you, man, 1,000 times over. I wish you the best of luck with your strength and conditioning business. Anybody out there can tell, man, you a straight up dude. SEC Tennessee captain of the swim team, man. Go get them. I wish you the best in life, man. If there's some other guys out there that are Buds of Trites, Green Beret Trites, you know, and you want to share your story, you know, hit me up, man. I'm going to probably do a number of these because I think these are moving and they're a lot more powerful than a guy talking about how he crushed it.